show called Stay Kind. We're on air every single Wednesday at 9 p.m. Malaysia time. That's night for us and daytime for you guys in the States and in the Northern Hemisphere. Uh, but we always have great guests every single week, and this week is no exception. But before that, I have a full roster of my co host here today, which is a great feeling to have all of my friends with me hosting the show together with me. And I shall bring on board, first and foremost, Nurul Fathiyah. Apa khabar?
Hi, Alhamdulillah. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. And we do have Carl Chung, our seafood master, our
Good evening, good
culinary
evening, good
seafood.
evening, good evening.
Hello. We have Fedora in the house.
Assalamualaikum. Good evening, everyone. Good to see you.
Alaikum salam. And last but not least, we have Umi. Apa khabar, Umi?
Baik, Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Aziz.
Everybody's looking great. It is a Wednesday, as usual. We are here with our friends. We have Dato Zaidi Hashim. Kabar, Waalaikumsalam, Dato. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming on board. Everyone, right now, just tell us where you're from. We can get you on board. Thanks, Dato. We do have Morshadul Alam, my buddy Morshadul. He's actually helping me with designing my website. So if you need somebody to design a website, go hook up with Morshadul. He's actually a student here in Malaysia, an international student here in Milai. We have also on board Benedict. How are you, Benedict? As well as Daryl and many more people from all over. Just tell me where you're from. So, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, we have a fantastic guest tonight. His name is Perthpal Singh. He's an author, he's a master trainer, he is a lot of things to a lot of people, and we're going to talk to him about that. He's in kind of the space that I'm in, culture transformation. So I have a lot of questions in that space as well, and I'm sure my co-host has plenty of questions just waiting for him to come on board. So, guys, without further ado, I give you Perthpal Singh Khosa. Apa khabar, Perthpal?
Kabar baik. Thanks for having me, Azib, and the entire entourage of co-hosts. It's amazing.
Good evening, Papa.
Good evening, Chung, Carl,
Nice to see you.
Fedora,
So,
Umi,
yep.
and Joe. Yeah.
Quick round of introductions. You've met everyone backstage, and this is my gang here with the Malaysian Growth Academy guys, and we do a lot of things together. Obviously, you have your own show, Pal, and what is that called?
It's called Thrive Talk, man. Had about 2 or 3 episodes out. Hope to have more of them soon. But
Yeah.
I'm very, very swamped with a lot of my current work with my clients. So I don't know how you do it. Need to learn a bit more from you, man. Yeah.
Well, let's start with that. For our guests, our audience out there who may or may not know you, perhaps you can start by just introducing yourself, what you do, how long you've been in the game, and what are the kind of things you're working on right now.
Okay, so been around in the training space for about 24 years. This is my 24th year. Started the company when I was a bit too young. When you're young, you think you can take on the world. So I started to set up my training consulting firm somewhere when we met in 96, 97. So 97 was when Learning Edge started, right in the middle of the Asian financial crisis. So that shows how uninformed I was going out into the business world. So 3 years was really, really difficult. Pain in the ass. 4 years, tough. But we came around. Eventually grew to quite a sizable group, about 32 people, full-time staff. And then about 8 years ago, we decided that it's no more fun having that many people, because the reason I left the corporate world was because I don't want to deal with the processes and system. So reduce it to about 15 people right now. That's the sweet spot that we are at. If you had to grow, I think I'm going to take it to about 20, but not more than that lah. There's no fun then. What I do right now, I specialize in the area of culture transformation. I help organization transform their culture. I mean, that's a word that's very loosely used, but I have like got about 8 steps process, right from strategic alignment to eventually cascading the whole vision of the organization to the rest of the people, developing behavior traits that will be aligned with organizational structures. And then to keep that fire burning, we use employee engagement apps that will allow for the fire to burn, keep on burning after we leave the organization. So that's one of the areas that I do, and I spend a lot of time looking into leadership development in organization, and about 30% of my time helping fresh graduates finding their direction in life. So that's basically where I spend a lot of time right now.
Amazing, amazing. So before we get into more of shop talk, I like to talk about, since you're also a trainer and you help people manage kind of emotions and stuff. I tell you, man, I'm quite sad. But yesterday, I mean, I went through this range of emotions. At 6 o'clock, I was in my Malaysia jersey, in front of the TV, live, watching Ziad Zulkifli, our golden boy, going for gold. Right? He's been training for 5 years, right, since Rio 2016. So he's been training. Now it's 2021. Now he's at Tokyo 2020, the stage of his life. He threw on his first throw a world record. He shattered the Malaysian national record of any athlete, tak payah special athlete, any able-bodied athlete cannot beat that throw. It was that big. And then there were 6 throws in the entire tournament. So I watched every single one of them. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. My wife was screaming. My son was screaming. Was so happy for him. And then came the news that there was a protest. And then they took back his gold. And worse than that, they took back that world record. So they disqualified his throw. IOC came up with a statement today confirming it, that our counter protest didn't work. So they confirmed that the Ukrainian guy won gold and Ziad is a DNS, did not start. Oh my God, I was so sad. I was about to cry. My wife actually did cry. How do we handle, ups and downs of life, basically?
Oh man, it's sad. I mean, you will remember that event forever. Every Malaysian will carry that story in our hearts. This is the point where histories are made. Just like we were talking about how the high jumpers shared their gold medal. That is talked about till today. This event, on the other hand, is on the other spectrum. An event that is sad that happened to this chap, Ziad. But I think if Ziad is in this for the long haul, he will make this, take it and turn it around to be this burning desire to show the world. Because you play the long game, don't play the short game. Yeah, 4 years more. But 4 years, 18 bulan in this pandemic just passed, kelip mata terlepas. Just think about this, another 4 years' time, he comes back with a vengeance and outdo the rest of the people. And that will be a story that will be remembered for many, many years. So I think for him right now, take it in, take that as a burning desire to prove the world and shut the world up for real. And let all the people to think about, oh man, this is malu betul lah. 4 years ago, tamparan kena after 4 years. So I think he should go back, not only throw the ball, throw the iron ball, but tamparan gila lah to all of them. So play the long game. I think he's going to kick ass. I think he's going to do amazing.
Before I hand over to my co-hosts who are patiently waiting, I think this will set it up nicely. Right after the announcement that he lost the gold, he sent out a message on Instagram. He said, "Saya minta maaf pada semua rakyat Malaysia." Oh man, I'm about to cry reading this, man. Sedih. And he is developmental delay, so he has learning disabilities, and so he's such a pure soul, He says, "Saya minta maaf pada semua rakyat Malaysia. Terima kasih memberi sokongan pada saya." But what I want to touch is because of the overwhelming support he received, right? Everybody is saying, "You're my hero, you're the best in the world, you broke the record, you're the best in the world." This morning he sent out another message saya akan bangkit kembali. Kerana
Okay.
terima kasih kerana memberi kata-kata semangat. Oh my goodness, you know, I mean, that's how much impact we can have on somebody's lives just by saying nice things to him. And he's now up and about again. He says, you know, I'll be back. So that's a wonderful, wonderful story from there. So right next to my colleague, right next to me, Nurul Fathiyah, off to you.
Thank you, Azif. Saya tengah sejuk ni, seram sejuk dengar cerita Ziad, seram sejuk dengar all this story, and I'm also feel very inspired by what Perthpal said tadi about burning desire. Perthpal, you talk about story, and I love story. So this is my question, right? If you could summarize your life experience in a sentence, what would it be? And what is the story behind that lead to that sentence?
Oh, wow. Big question. And something that I have time to reflect upon in the last 18 months, especially deeply. I think it's one hell of a roller coaster ride that you think every time you think that you have passed through the worst curves, another one is going to come, and it's a perpetual roller coaster ride. As soon as you accept that, as that's the way we're going to roll from now on, I think you will be less disappointed. I think we should expect the worst but prepare for the best. Yeah, I think we should, or rather the other way around, right? We need to prepare. And I think moving forward, there will be a lot more challenges coming in, and the challenges are going to be coming more rapidly. So what's important is for us to keep ourselves ready. That's the best that you can have. Nothing more than that. Because we cannot really predict what's happening in the future. It will be quite arrogant thinking that we can. In fact, if you see, more and more organizations are very pragmatic in their approaches. The changes that's happening are not new. The only thing that new is that the changes are happening faster than ever. Changes has always been happening since time immemorial. It has always been there. But what has changed is the speed of change has changed. It's changing so much faster now, and it's so unpredictable because there is no technical chart that we can rely on because it's an era of discontinuous change. The change in the past cannot help predict the changes in the future. So I think the best we can do is to quickly learn new things. So it's not about accumulation of knowledge anymore. I'm more excited about learning new things because what you accumulated may not be relevant anymore. So right now, this question is very important, Nurul. Right now, being in the business for 24 years, I am at the same level of someone who just came in the business last 18 months because we are virtual. In the virtual space, it allows anybody to start at any time. So you know what? Your years of experience may come to naught in this era. So it's not about my past 18 or 24 years of experience, it's what I'm going to learn and learn very, very quickly. That's the way I look at it. So I'm excited that I think that my best years will be once I'm above 55 years old. I'm 53 right now, but I think my best work will come when I'm 58 and above. Why? Because I'm too old to give a damn. I can go out and be authentic, and I don't really have to please anyone. And I think I have earned to say it as it is. So I'm looking forward to get into that space of being that old guy who can say anything I want. Not being disrespectful, but really because you have seen a lot of things and life is too good. That's how I see it. I really think my best years will be the coming 25 years, not the last 25. The next 25 is going to be kick-ass. I see it that way.
Wow, I love it. I'm burning with desire now. I'm very inspired by that. Thank you so much, Perthpal.
Welcome.
So the next person will be
Carl.
Carl.
Perthpal, I see the book that you have behind you. Basically, it's called Thrive. So the question is, why do you write about Thrive, and basically, what is it all about?
Oh, okay. So why did I write the book? It was more vanity lah. Need to be seen as an author. That's number one. I must tell you that. And I'm fed up of everybody asking me that question every time I run seminars. They're inspired by my session. They say, "Do you have a book?" Like, no. Just because I speak, that doesn't mean I'm going to write a book. But eventually, because I'm also repositioning my career, because about 5 years or no, sorry, 2.5 years from now, I want to do more keynote speaking. Because of that, I thought a book will be a good thing to have. And I also wanted to do this during the pandemic. Tak ada apa nak kerja, tak ada apa nak buat. So what do? I parked my behind onto the seat, and I took 3 months to write the goddamn book. And that's one more reason I write the book, because I had a bit more time. And then another reason for that is this. I told all my staff this. I said, if we come out from the pandemic looking exactly like how we were before the pandemic, then we have failed to take advantage of the pandemic. So I said, we have to re-look at our organization structure. We need to re-look at what we do. We need to be seen coming out from the pandemic looking very, very different. So I did quite a number of things during the pandemic. I was very, very busy. I wrote the book. My second book is coming along. Probably end of this year, I will release that. So I wrote that book. That's the reason I wrote the book. Number two, what is the book all about? That's your question,
Yeah.
right? The follow-up
Correct.
question. The book is actually something that I wish I had when I started my career when I was 23 years old. It's a book to guide fresh graduates, or anybody for that matter, to have a step-by-step process so that they can achieve so much more results in the shortest period of time. So I have got this rule. I say, if you are willing to do what nobody is willing to do in the first 2 to 5 years of your career, that you take on assignments that is toughest, that nobody wants to do, volunteer on projects that nobody wants to get into, read more than anybody else, do stuff and try stuff in the first to 5 years, I think the next 25 years, you're going to own it. Because the first 5 years is crucial. I still believe that. I still tell this to people. And so that book that I wrote is basically a book that will actually help guide someone, because I did not have that opportunity. I had to learn it the hard way. Azib learned it the hard way. I made a lot of stupid mistakes, spend money on things which are not really, really important. So the book talks about everything, right? From dealing with people that you don't like, but you have to work with. How do you actually manage your emotions? How do you do it and don't have to PK, langgar aja? We talk about how you need to constantly seek discomfort. Instead of trying to avoid it, seek discomfort. As long as you're uncomfortable, you are doing well. All right. I talk about having to have behavior flexibility. So these are things that I talk about in the book, and it's a book that comes with videos as well. So that's that, man. Sorry, a long answer to your very short question, Carl.
No. That's a very good question, and I shall buy your book.
I
thanks.
have. I bought the book.
Yeah, man. I wanted to send
go
the
ahead.
book to Azib. Azib refused to take the book. He said, "No, I'm going to buy the book. I'm not going to take the book." So I said, "Okay, I appreciate that."
Yes. Ilmu. It's knowledge. I can vouch for it. It's a wonderful book. There's some stories in here I want to ask him, but let's go down the line first and get to my co-host. They've been very patiently waiting. Let's go first to Fedora.
Hi, pal, and again, good evening, everyone. I must say, in the we were saying, I was just so excited when your name was mentioned, and today is the day that I myself get to directly engage with you, because what's drawn me to you, I must say, from your LinkedIn posting, is the energy that you resonate, and looking at your area of expertise, culture transformation. I think I personally am that's my passionate subject matter. So I think my question to you is this, pal, is I think you mentioned about in other words, we are in a reset mode, right? I mean, pretty much everyone is on that same level playing field. If you're not, if you're already ahead, you are already on a reset mode, on transformation path. So this, I mean, it takes a lot of courage, don't you think so, to move forward? And a lot of time fear, right? Fear of the unknown takes center stage, right? In most cases. So would you agree to that firstly? And which is fair, but what do you tell the people who fall into this mindset of fear, what do I, unable to move forward, right? So that they are able to thrive. I think leading, I mean, again, I know your subject matter, I mean, that the book itself is talking about thrive, and today's subject is thrive. And how do they, how do you convince them, right, to be bold, to be fearless? Because I think we recognize that not everyone is like that. There is always this fear that, bring them back. So they might have, I call it the kemahuan, the want. They do. I think I'm sure a lot of people do, but not the keupayaan or ability. So what do you have to say to these people? Because and to inspire, because your it's basically your wisdom, lah, Paul. Thank you.
Wow. They say knowledge comes from learning, wisdom comes from living. I've not lived it long enough to get wisdom, but let me share with you a couple of things. Whatever I have or I'm speaking right now is based on the books that I read and the people that I meet along the way. So there are a lot of people who have given me a lot of incredible lesson. To answer your question, Fedora, I read somewhere they said fear kills more dreams than failure ever will. A lot of people, their dreams are being killed by just the fear. Fear of what? Fear of failure. So they don't really actually fail. They even fail at starting. So the question is, why are people not starting? Right? So you need to find a reason for doing something, your raison d'etre, the purpose of your being. Why are you doing what you're doing? If I put a gun to the head of someone that you love and say, if you don't do something, I'm going to kill this person, you probably will find ways and be very, very resourceful to do it. So you need to find a compelling reason for doing something. For some people, it could be like Ziad's case right now. You know what's his burning desire? He got 33 million fans who are cheering him 5 years from now. Now itself, people are cheering him for what he's going to do 5 years from now. You think he's got a reason to get up in the morning and go work on his throw? You bet. All right? So some people who you have not found yet, you have not found something to push you. That means you don't want it badly. So we do whatever we do, some people say because of either the pursuit of pleasure or the escaping of pain. So we are all pain and pleasure creatures. I think we are more than that, lah. If we are just looking pain and pleasure, then we are no better than animals. We must have a compelling reason. Why are we doing what we are doing? I get up in the morning and do something. Why? Because I find it exciting to see the sparks in someone's eye in helping them achieve something. That's exciting for me. For some people, it could be anything. So some people providing something better for their family. What is your reason? You need to find that reason lah. Kan? Now, how do you find that reason? Some people say, I kena tunggu sampai reason dulu datang. No, the reason is not going to come. You need to go out. So what do? Do stuff, try stuff. I always tell people, do stuff, try stuff. And I think people should stop romanticizing the concept of love what you do and do what you love. I think that's one of the biggest bullshit ever mentioned to people out there. So I'm going to tell you right now, if you love what you do, I'm happy for you. I applaud you, go for it. If you don't love what you do, it's okay too. Because how many of you sitting here right now, you are living your dreams. This is what you always wanted to do in your life. If you are, I'm happy for you. If you are not, it's okay too. Because the world is not being built by people who love what they do. It's because of people who did things because it was important to do. My father did what he did because he wanted not to pursue happiness. My father wanted to pursue meaning. I think meaning trumps happiness anytime. I feel that happiness is a byproduct of having a meaningful life. I think we should not pursue being happy because that's very hedonistic, very individual. I want to be happy. If this country is not built by people who were pursuing happiness, they were pursuing meaning. And the result of it, we have a great nation. I mean, we can be better, by the way, just to let you know, side note, we can be better. So I think, so you go out, do stuff, find stuff, don't like something, move on to the next one until you find, eventually, you'll find something that connects. But you can only find that connect if you start moving your ass. you start moving that direction. So I really feel people should do stuff and try stuff and not just say, I belum dapat wahyu lagi, belum terima lagi dan sebagainya. Come on. You know, enough lah. Enough. Go out and do stuff. And some more, we cannot predict what's happening in the future. So what are you talking about? Jobs that you love may be obsolete. A lot of jobs are being created and jobs are being extinct, just like animals in this world being extinct. Jobs are getting extinct. So what you pursue to achieve and you want to achieve may not be there, may not be needed in the future. So what are you talking about? So do stuff, try stuff, man. Sorry lah, no magic answer to that.
Yeah.
I just feel that that's the brutal truth. That's the way I see it. Okay. Yeah.
Love it. Can you just put in? I think, Pal, you don't need to wait. You're reaching 58 years old. You're already saying it as it is. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've known him for 20 odd years, and he's been saying that already since back then. So he doesn't have to wait till 58, like you said. So we'll go to Ummi. Before that, ladies and gentlemen, please put your questions into the chat. We do have one question from Pat Korea, my buddy from all the way from Washington, D.C. But we'll get to that after Ummi's question. Go ahead, Ummi.
Mr. Perthpal, okay. Love your answer just now. I've learned that younger generation listening to this, maybe when they listen again years from now, they will know that today they have to make the right decision on what they want to do in their life. Okay, were there any moment you recall as true breakthrough in your area, in any area in your life?
Breakthrough. Oh my God. Getting married was amazing. And then, that itself is like a journey, lots of ups and downs in life. Breakthrough, I find that you don't have to wait for one breakthrough. Every time you make a decision, you're going to come to some kind of breakthrough. But significant, typically significant that everybody have in their life will be when you decide that your life is not as important as someone else's. When your children come to your life, then you find that everything else pales in comparison. That was a major breakthrough. That you realize that you are not as important as someone you truly love. I think I had 3 moments of that. So I've got 3 kids, and that was a major breakthrough. Other breakthrough were like pains that you have in your life. Those were pleasurable. The arrival of someone that you love. That was great. But other breakthroughs were like, when you lose something major in your life. Like one breakthrough I had was I lost my mom about 2 years ago to Alzheimer, and here's the thing: I lost my mother on a Saturday. Sunday were the rites. Monday I was back in seminar. It was one of the most difficult seminars I've ever conducted in my life. I still remember my father talking to me in the afternoon at about 4 o'clock in the evening. He looked at me, he said, "You've got class tomorrow?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Go finish your class because your mother would expect you to finish them." I went back, I ran my seminars for 2 full days, full on, and that was one hell of a major experience in my life, that I learned that I'm capable to actually weather through some of the most difficult time. So even with the mom passing away, right, she still taught me a big lesson that I've got so much more than I thought I have. So that was major thing in my life, I think. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much for sharing with us, Paul. That's we all know it takes great courage to talk about things that are painful to us, and we thank you for sharing a little bit of yourself with all of us today. So, like I said, we have questions from the floor. Pat Korea is saying, "What should our appetite to take risks during this pandemic be, both personally and professionally?" And before you answer that, Paul, one of the things you talked about was in your book that really struck me was about the story about your dad, and you have to tell us the story about how he waited after all of his responsibilities are done. He pension sudah, then he started doing his passion. So as you answer Patrick's question, what should our appetite for risk be during this time, both professionally and personally? Then after that, maybe you can share us a little story about your dad. Go ahead.
Right. Okay. So appetite for risk is very individual. Some people are high risk takers. Some people are going to go into their cave and protect whatever they have during this time. I decided that I need to take a little bit more risk during the pandemic. In fact, I wrote a song. If you know Azib, yeah, I wrote a song, and I can never sing, but I decided to write a song for my team, and I made a commitment that I'm not going to lose any one of my staff. I'm going to retain all of them, full pay as much as I can. And if I have to break my piggy, I will break my piggy, which is I will personally finance. Why? Because these are the people that are going to or help me to reach where I am. And I think to take it to the next stage, I need the same team. So I decided to invest a little bit more. A couple of them actually had a pay rise during the time. So I decided to do that. Why? I think those people who are equipping themselves with more tools and more readiness, when the market opens up, there's going to be a void. A lot of players are going to be fizzle out, or they're going to get out of the business. The one remaining who are willing to take the risk will be able to take the big chunk of business that's going to come in, because there's going to be a vacuum, I think, in the market somewhat. Yeah. While I say that, I'm excited about that, but I also am sad because I think the disparity is going to increase. The people who are able to hold this will be able to take a bigger market, and the one who cannot hold are going to fall even further back. So that's the sad part. It's a double-edged sword, which I wish everybody will be okay. So this is when I think the big boys will have to play a little bit more role in trying to help the smaller people in coming up. So to answer your question, Patrick, I think it's a personal choice. I've decided that I want to throw in, double down on my betting, and to help take the organization to a higher level. So that's my decision. That's how I would look at it. Azib, you asked me another question, didn't you? You had a follow-up question on that one.
Yeah. Compare that to contrast that to what your dad did, right?
Oh.
Whatever came, whatever happened in his life, he made sure his responsibilities were done.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years he worked, 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
And then pursued his passion, then pursued what he wanted. So tell us a little bit about that, especially those who haven't read the story in your book.
Yeah. So my father is a difficult act to follow. Not the easiest person in this world. Some people call it stubborn. I call it tenacity. My father is very tenacious. Father was an immigrant, come to Malaysia, worked as a watchman, jaga OCBC Bank, stood in the same spot, carrying the same double barrel, with the same 2 bullets in it, never took a shot, honest to God. And we thank God he never had to. And he set a goal in his life. He did not want to retire. He wanted to resign. He wanted to beat the job before the job beats him. It's his way. It's his way of showing that he has won. So he stood in the same spot. I'm not kidding. 30 years carrying that, And the day he retired, I said, "Wow, Pa, not bad. 30 years of your job. You must have done well." He said, "What stupid job that was." I said, "But you went for a job for 30 years. Never was late." He said, "Yeah, I had to do it because of you." I'm like, "I didn't ask you to make me. I mean, why are you blaming me?" Right? Immigrant parents will always blame their children. It's all because of you. But to cut the story a bit, yeah. So my father, while I said that he was a watchman, he was a watchman. My father is no more watchman now. So at the age of 51, my father tendered his resignation. And for the first 2 years after the resignation, he learned how to write calligraphy, seni khat. He learned how to use the manuscript pen, because he wanted to write the Sikh scripture is called the Guru Granth Sahib. We have our own Bible. It's 1,430 pages thick, 1429 or 1430. He wanted to write the whole book by hand. So one day he bought a bunch of papers and he sat down, crossed legs, and started looking at the original text and wrote one by hand. It took him about 27 months to write one, sitting down between 12 to 14 hours a day. So we thought father has got a hobby, and we thought, hey, good, because parents should have a hobby, or else your life will be hobbied by them. So I think parents should be busy, right? So we thought, okay, good for him. Some people were touring from UK. They came to know about my father writing a book, and they invited him to come and display the book in UK. So we must tell you this: my father did not travel outside of Malaysia as long as he was here. Suddenly packing his bag, going to UK, book was displayed. So the whole diaspora of the Sikhs in UK came down, even from Europe, came down, saw the book, and a lot of money was collected, and he donated the monies to set up a learning center in England. Came down, back to Malaysia, broke as ever, wrote the second book, and said, and he was invited to go to India, the Amritsar Golden Temple, the Makkah for the Sikhs. And was there, the book was displayed, and then he left it there, gave it to them, and then he came back. He was in Edmonton and in Canada for about 3 years, wrote one for the Sikhs. Then he was invited to stay in LA. So my father stayed in LA for 3 years, and then came back, was in Australia for a bit. So for the past 25 years, my father has been traveling around the world, and his highest pay in his life ever was 718 ringgit, was his highest salary. So when he came back, eventually, I said, Pa, how did you write? By the way, my father wrote 7 books. 7 books. In the entire Sikh history, from the time of the prophets or the gurus of the Sikhs in 1469, there's only one person who wrote 4. My father wrote 7. Now, I'm not telling this because my father is great. No. Father's got a lot of weaknesses, just like anybody. I'm saying this to you guys right now is because my father has got the worst handwriting in the world. My father's handwriting is so bad that the doctor's handwriting will look like art. But if you look at every book right now he has written, every book looks as though it came out from a printing press. It's beautifully written. So when I asked him, Pa, how do you write nice? He said, you know what? Say, for example, I'm writing the word apple. When I write the A, when I write the P, I try to write the P better than A. When I write the next B, I'll write it better than the P I just wrote. When I write the L, I write it better than the P. And when I write the E, is better than L. He is doing process improvement at the letter level. So if you look at book number 1 and book number 7, you can see how it has transformed. And the 7th book was so unbelievably great. Then I asked him this question. I said, Father, okay, fine. I know about the 7. How is it that you write 7? He got angry. He said, writing 7, to think that you can write 7 will be arrogant, he said. He said, forget about the 7. He said, I did not even know whether I can write the first book. He said, forget the first book. I did not even know whether I can write the first page. He said, forget the first page. He said, I did not even know whether I can write the first stanza for it to stop at the right punctuation. He said, I did not even know whether I can do that. He said, but what I know is I can pick up the pen and write the first letter. It's not about the knowing, it's about the doing. Anybody listening and thinking about doing something, you don't have to know everything. Man. All you need to do is start, because along the way, you'll find people who is willing to help you. If you take running right now, if you're not done any running, if you put on a pair of shoes and you go to the park and you will see a runner will come and tell you, hey, how is it going? Good to see you, man. Don't worry, you can run. Because you know why? People are tired and sick of bad news. People want to see great news. People want to see more success, because we have been laden by so much of pain for so long, and people want to see more interesting stories. So you know what? All you need to start, and you'll find wave of people just coming back behind you and supporting you and to see you do well. I totally believe that world is becoming a better place. I definitely believe that way. I see it that way. So that's my answer, man. About
That's
my father.
Beautiful. I'm echoing Dr. Nurul Yana's comments that it was a beautiful sharing. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. That was so real. And this leads me to a beautiful time to go into my iklan sekejap ni. So the iklan is, our show comes on every week. And next week we have, let me see, Carl Sean Watkins, all the way from USA, and his entire deal is about vulnerability. and how to be vulnerable, especially for men, to share their vulnerability and how that is helpful to you in your life and also in your business. So please stay tuned with us next week, next Wednesday, same time, same place, 9 p.m. on my profile. We'll bring you Carl Sean Watkins all the way from the US of A. So again, that was a beautiful story, brother. That was wonderful. And let's go back to my co-host. Okay, who would like the next question? Silakan.
Yeah,
Everybody tengah terpegun.
we are still in awe of that story. Perthpal, you told us a beautiful story about your father. Could you share with us the story about your child, your adopted child? We came to know that you have an adopted child. How did that happen, and what's the story behind it?
Oh, okay. Wow. So I got three kids, right? I have got my eldest now is 18 years old. My kids are very independent from a very young age. At the age of 14, my daughter had a full scholarship from Shell, so she studied in the Bahamas in a private international school. She's an avid diver. She just came back from planting corals in the Bahamas, and she was in Morocco building school and teaching refugee kids speaking English, and she's back in Wales now. She's just turned 18. And my 16-year-old son just finished IGCSE. He wants to be a doctor. Very boring, but yes, he wants to be a doctor. Too many doctors in the family, so that's him. About 7 years and 2 months ago, my wife and I having coffee at Coffee Bean in Ampang. It was a Tuesday. And about 4 o'clock, while having coffee, I received a message in the phone. And the message says, a foreigner overstayed in this country, pregnant full term, and is going to deliver a baby in 2 days' time, and she doesn't want the baby. I look at the message, I look at my wife and jokingly say to my wife, hey, baby for adoption one. And she goes, okay. Just like that. I say, okay. She said, okay. It was like a dare. And then I answered, okay. And after I pressed okay, I'm thinking like, what the hell am I doing? Because my daughter was 11, my son was 9. When your children are 11 and 9, they mind their own business already. They bathe on their own. They pack their bags on their own. When we go holidays, they know what to do. So life is pretty good, right? So now bringing a child to your home at that age, Now, I got 2 days before the baby comes, and my house is no more baby friendly. So what I do? Google, make a list of all the things I need, went to Mothercare KLCC, went to buy all the clothes and all the things, and I have to buy all neutral colors. Why? Because I don't even know whether it's a boy or a girl. Imagine buying pink and the boy comes. Hi, pa. I mean, I got no issue, of boys wearing pink. Anyway, so 2 days later, just to let you know, my parents set a KPI on the anak-anak. That the KPI is basically this: once your life becomes better, that you need to sponsor a child outside of the family, outside of the relation, outside of the race, and outside of the religion. It cannot be from the Punjabi, it cannot be from the same religion, it have to be outside. That was the KPI. All my other siblings have already chosen families that they will help. I have not done my part yet. But let me tell you, adopting a child and sponsoring a child are two very different things. Sponsoring a child is pretty simple. Adopting a child, very different. So I went to the studio, went to the clinic 2 days later to pick the kid up. And how wrong and arrogant I was, thinking that I can give a child a better life. Because the day I held Ummi in my arms, I realized she was giving me more than I can ever imagine. It was one of the breakthrough moments in my life when you can fall instantaneously with someone that you've never met at that particular time, first time meeting, and you're willing to give your life to that child. She gave me the gift of realizing that I have the ability to give more than I can ever imagine. I named her Umid. It's a Sufi name. Umid means expectation, yearning. And I shudder to think, what if I accidentally deleted that message from my phone? What if I did not read that message on that phone? So that is the story of Ummi. But the process of adoption was a very difficult one because we did not lie. I did not want to register the child under my wife's name because my wife looked as though she can pop up a few more babies. She can pass on like a woman who can. So we decided to register the child under the biological mother's name. You get a birth certificate and it's going to be pink because not warga negara Malaysia. Then I got a lawyer to prepare the SD and for the mother to sign. With the SD, she can leave the country, amnesty given. She can have a safe passage out of the country. With that SD, I can also go see a judge to get the adoption done. They gave me the temporary custody. So I took back the child home. And about 2 months later, they sent Jabatan Kebajikan to my house, welfare officers, 3 of them, 25-page questionnaire asking me details about my financial, about where I'm going to place the kid. Is my kid going to go to the same school like my children did? Look into my bank account. They wanted to know also whether I'm a pedophile or not. They checked the police reports and all that stuff. And I thank God they do that because a lot of bullshit that's happening right now in this country, in some records. The message went back to the judge and I was called for a hearing and they gave me the custody. And with the custody, now I can now apply for for the Surat Berana, the birth certificate again, with my name on it. Did I get it? Yes. Guess what? It was still pink. She is my child, but she's not a Malaysian. So I have to apply for citizenship. And the time taken to get the citizenship is anything between 8 to 15 years. But along the way, in my line of work, I met a lot of wonderful people. One of my very good friend is Tan Sri Wahid, who was at one time he was a minister. And he heard my case and he said, "Hey, Pal, your daughter still no check yet?" I said, "Not yet." He said, "If you remember, I used to be a minister." I said, "Yeah, damn straight, I know." He said, "Maybe I can write you a letter." So he wrote me a letter. The letter went to KDN and they called me for an interview and they granted the citizenship in 5 years. So my daughter is studying in the school right now, man. So that's one of the greatest gift I have in my life, the gift to find what I'm actually capable of. So she is giving me more than can I ever imagine. So you never know, man. The idea here is to keep on rock as you roll. You never know what's going to come along the way. Sometimes we don't take chances. So I really think you have to take chances and then figure out as you go. I do not have all the answers, neither will you. But what I know is staying status quo is not going to help you. So keep
That's
on moving
amazing.
forward.
That is just so amazing. And, having friends also, not bad. You have the forward from Tuku Zafrul for your book. So again, I'm plugging his book. If you don't have the book yet, please look for it. It's called Thrive. A proven step-by-step guide to prepare graduates for success in personal life and professional careers by Perthpal Singh Khosa. Go get it. I would like to say my observation here, Pa. I know that the Sikh community in Malaysia is very small. What is it? A few 100,000?
We statistics varies from about 90 to 120. My suspicion is about 110, 115,000. So we truly are the endangered species. So please give us a lot of love and care. The orangutan in Sipulok doesn't need that much of care and love, man. We need more. So
You are the Dan Lain of Malaysia, lah.
Yeah, we are the minority of minority.
But back to our show's name, Stay Kind. I have seen in my 53 years, we're the same age, that the Sikh community has gone, I would say, above and beyond in helping others. Because I have seen charity work, I've seen people giving food, I've seen people donating, ridiculous amounts of money. I have seen the Sikh community do so much for so many people in this country. And my question to you is this part of the creed? Is this part of the religion, or is this something that you do as a people? What's going on here?
All right. So yes, it's part of our creed. There's a saying, that service to mankind brings us nearer to God. We totally believe that we need to serve humanity, and for us to see all race and religion as one. And we do it through our action, not just sloganeering. So if you see worldwide, the Sikhs are known to be there at any malapetaka, any adversity that happen, we are always there. We are known to be doing that.
Wow.
So you may not know this, that you can go to a gurdwara and have your meal anytime. You know that. That's something that we do. We serve. If you go to Amritsar Golden Temple, we call it the Golden Temple. We call it Harmandir Sahib. We don't call it temple. Temple is not the right definition. We call it gurdwara. All right. So in Amritsar, food is being served 24/7 for the past 400 years. And it's for everybody. So nobody in Amritsar will go to sleep without their tummies filled. And we totally believe that you need to serve and everybody. So in Malaysia, although we are about 120,000 of us, we make our presence felt. We are doing a lot of charity work. Even before the pandemic, there's free kitchen going on. And you all have zakat, betul tak? And you all have zakat. We seek also got zakat. Our zakat 10% of our salary, 10% tau. Jangan main-main. And it's not tax deductible. So we get screwed twice, my friend. So we have that kitty, right? We have that kitty and we use that money for the greater good of the community at large, not only for the Sikhs. So our kitty is to serve everybody. So one of the, we have this food bank, Malaysian food bank. A good friend of mine, he's like considered as a younger brother. We grew up together in small town called Mua. He's about 3 years younger than me. His name is Rishi Wand. He walked from Perlis down south to Johor, walking, collecting funds. He started this a few years ago. He tragically passed away 3 years ago in a motorbike accident in India. He comes from a very, very wealthy family, but he decided to just do social service. And what he started carried on till today. And I think right now, the Malaysian Food Bank is also helping out, giving out a lot of, hampers and stuff. I'm not saying only us. The rap song that I wrote, Azib, and in Clubhouse, you invited me and I saw you there. And I got in touch with Ultimate, the rapper.
Wow.
And I actually, he said, can I hear the lyrics? So, you know how difficult it is to do a rap in front of a rapper. So I just went for it, and please don't ask me to share it right now. You can go get that clip in my LinkedIn post if you want to. I call it Break the Piggy. And I know Ultimate is also working with a group of people, serving people, the Bendera Putih effort. So I think a lot of Malaysians are doing whatever it takes and not waiting for people to give out arms and give out free stuff. And Malaysians are helping out Malaysians. Kita jaga kita to the core right now. That's how we are keeping things going. So to answer your question, yes, it's part of our creed. We totally believe. Anytime any one of you need any kind of help, you just look for a Punjabi guy, see it from the bangle, see it from the turban, you know that guy. They said, I know if some people are from India here, they probably can vouch for it. They said, if you're in Delhi, if you're going to if you're worried, you see any Punjabi guy, go to the Punjabi guy. Chances are a Punjabi Sikh, with the turban, he probably will take care of you. So we are supposed to be a trustworthy person. I do not know whether I'm a great ambassador of that. Probably I'm not. I'm getting there as well. Slowly and surely, probably we will do better. Yeah?
I'm sure you are, brother. And again, this is just an amazingly inspiring night we're having here with you. And I just want to say, this could be destiny. This could be happenstance. I don't know. In the audience today, there's Dato Asyapa, good friend of mine. He and I just had a meeting with Ultimate for him to help out in some of our work that we are going to do. And he's going to do a show with us on Hari Malaysia. So it's just, these things just happen. And to put exclamation mark on it, Patrick Correa just said that it's morning there in DC, and he's just exploring options on fostering a child. Can you imagine that?
Ah,
And he's so thankful for you for this story. Can you imagine us just sharing stories, the impact we have to people who are listening in to us? And again, I'd
yeah.
just like to thank you, brother, for this wonderful evening of stories, of inspiration, of motivation that you've shared with us. One of the unfortunate jobs that I have as a host is to kind of take care of the time. We're running out of that. Very scarce resource. But I'd like to allow my co-host just a few seconds each to kind of share what their key takeaway is from tonight, and if you have anything to share with the audience or with Paul. We'll start with you, Carl.
Um, Again, very many touching stories from you, Pal. And the most important thing for me as a takeaway are number one, uh, the uh, the meaning, truly the meaning versus the happiness part, because happiness is actually something very selfish, but meaning will actually transcend many things. And the next thing is, again, personally, I've always been wanting to write a book, and you have given me no reason not to begin. Start
Wow.
with one letter. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
man.
Thank you, Carl. We'll jump over to Fedora.
Yeah, so many. I agree totally with Carl too. And yeah, when you mentioned Gurdwara, I had the opportunity. One of my best friends, Jasmeet, who's now in London, we went to Gurdwara for lunch one of the days when I was in Motorola. True, the spirit was true. And yeah, my learning is one of the things is it is about doing. You emphasize so much on do stuff, right? Do stuff and try stuff. And you mentioned also it's not about knowing, it's all about doing. So yes, it's in my notes. I put a big exclamation here. So thank you, Carl, for that. Thank you, Paul, for that.
Thanks,
Fira,
Fedora.
I just want to add a little bit. In that book, I have got a chapter dedicated only on the concept of just doing it. There's three parts to this. Number one, moving from knowing to doing to eventually being. And Socrates talks about that. To move from a knowing to a human doing to a human being, you become it. So I think it's about the process of becoming. Ultimately, is where we all going to. Thank you, Fedora. I appreciate that.
And Fedora writing in her journal is also talked about in chapter 9. Journal your way to success. Hey, I'm a good salesman. Hey, guys, get this book. It's a good book. We're going now to Ummi Sa'adah.
Thank you so much, Azif. Because of you, I have known this great circle. I have known Mr. Perthpal that teach us so many lessons. My key takeaway is try new things.
Ah,
Wonderful. Thanks, Umi. And last but not least, Nurul Fathiyah.
Thank you so much, Perthpal, for your sharing tonight. It is really impactful, and one of the most impactful moment for me is when you talk about desire. I'm going to sleep tonight with that big question: what is my burning desire? Thank you so much.
Thank you
thank you.
so much to my co-hosts. And last but not least, we allow you to kind of summarize your experience with us, Pal. I hope you've had a good time with us as well. And maybe you can reflect on that and share with our audience, just in closing, your last words.
Right. You make things so easy. You keep it so light. Your questions are light, but it leads to, I think, quite interesting introspection for myself. When I'm answering that, I'm actually listening to my inner voice. So thank you for doing that. It will make me reflect a little bit more about how I can do better and how I probably can also extend the concept of kindness to everybody. At the end of the day, that's it, lah. I really appreciate this evening. Honestly, it was really nice.
Thank you so much, Pal. And thank you, everyone from all over the world who's tuning in tonight on our show. Stay kind. Once again, a small reminder to everyone that we are on every single week. Next week, same time, same place. We do have Carl Sean Watkins all the way from the United States. His thing is about vulnerability. So next week's episode is Stay Kind, the vulnerability episode. But tonight's episode on Thrive was totally amazing. If you didn't catch the whole episode, go back to my profile and see the reruns. All of you in the chat right now, please connect to one another, connect to all of us here on screen, especially connect to Perthpal. It's worth your while. And everyone, please take care of yourselves. I hope you get great lessons from our discussion tonight. And as always, stay kind. We'll see you around. Take care, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Good night. Thanks, mate.
Bye-bye.